building a family compound. Everything you need to know about building your own family subdivision. First up, you are acting as a developer. What is a developer, you ask? Well, essentially a developer, think about a piece of farmland, okay? Maybe something that's 50 acres that a person goes and buys, all right? This is the developer. They see the opportunity, they look at the farmland, it's one big 50-acre piece of land. So how do you take the 50-acre piece of land and make it into 100 homes, into a subdivision? Well, you have to build your infrastructure, all right? And that's essentially what you're trying to do in a very smaller format with a family compound. So you've got your 50 acres piece back to the developer, and then they have to get everything surveyed, okay? So essentially you're gonna get with an architect for a site plan, and they would build out where all the homes are gonna go, all the lots, the sizing of the lots. The county will dictate all of that. Where your roads are going to go, and all of the setbacks and all of that kind of stuff. When you're going in the big scheme of a subdivision, let's kind of put that same concept into play when it comes to a family compound. So essentially you're buying, let's just say in this case, 20 acres. You're trying to separate this into 4 separate parcels. So first you would find your 20 acres. You would then need to get a perk test or a soil test with a soil scientist in order to determine where your home sites are going to need to be in conjunction with your septic sites, okay? So you would need to get the soil scientist and pay them to go out and find 4 septic sites and figure out what the bedroom count is going to be for each one of those. That would dictate what size home you can build on each of those parcels. So you have 20 acres. Now you've hired the soil scientist to go out. They have determined, hey, we found 4 septic locations. They're all 3 bedrooms, or etc. And now you know roughly where those homes are going to sit in conjunction with the septic. From here, there would need to be a survey done in order to separate that. But typically you would need to own the land first, unless you can coordinate that with a seller in order to do it all at the same time, but that's a little tricky. And there's a lot of details in and out of this. I'm trying to give you somewhat of a high-level overview of this, but you need to get the land, figure out that. The soil scientist determines the septic sites. Then you have a survey to separate those septic locations or home sites into maybe 4 or 5 acre parcels at that point. You also have to figure out where your driveway, right? Your driveway's coming in, and that would be an easement essentially into the property that the other homes would be using, branching off essentially, in order to do that. So you normally will have to have a kind of an easement recorded, unless you found the perfect piece of land that has 20 acres with a ton of road frontage where you can separate them all, and each person would have their own driveway right off the road. But typically it doesn't work like that. Usually it's all one piece, and you have a driveway that goes in, and then it kind of splits and branches off into each person's own 5 acre parcel or whatever you're going to do. So you would need to make sure also with the county what the minimum lot size is for that county, and all of that. So you would call building and codes for that information. They would be able to tell you, hey, with a home in the rural area in the septic location, your minimum may be 1 acre, it may be 3 acres or 5 acres, etc. There's also another avenue of difficulty when it comes to survey and recording and stuff like that when it comes to minimum lot size. Some counties will say if your lot size is 3 acres or 5 acres, etc., then you can survey that, and it's much easier of a process to branch off from the larger portion than if it's a smaller lot. So that's what they call typically a minor plat subdivision. So, and a lot of times with the county, it has to go through a certain level of approval for essentially, like I said in the beginning, a subdivision. You're creating a mini subdivision. So if it's under a certain amount of acreage, a lot of times counties will require that extra layer of approval and an extra type of a survey that costs more and more and more money. So keep all of that in mind. So that's a big component. So, all right, so we talked about the land and sectioning it off, surveying it off, parceling it off, all those things, okay? You have to survey them off and all that. But how do you get that land and survey it all if you don't own it or the land, right? So that's the key here. So a lot of times what I would suggest people is it's great if you have cash. Cash would be ideal, but if you don't have cash to be able to pay for the land and survey it and do all those things after the fact, then you would need a loan. Typically, most people doing a family compound, you're going to need a land loan or a lot loan. We do not do just land or lot loans, but I know some people that do, and you can do them with as little as, well, sometimes 0 down, but typically most of the time it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 25% down for a land loan. So that would get you your land, right? Either one of you is going to have to be the kind of the front man to go get the land, or a couple of you to go get the land in your name, and then you can do all those things. But then it comes down to, well, what about our building the house and the construction loans? So now you've owned the land, you've closed on the land, if it's a land loan, and now you've surveyed it off. And so now essentially each person is going to have to purchase, again, you're acting as the developer here, each person is going to have to purchase that piece of land from you. So what that means is you've got to write a contract, right? You're the developer, you're writing the contract, selling the homes to the builders, or in this case, other homeowners that's purchasing that piece of land from you. So now if one person went and got the land, they surveyed it off and all those things, then you're going to have to write a contract 3 different times with your other 3 family members to sell them their 5 acres, etc. Then you have a contract in place, and then you can move forward with their construction individually of their home, okay? You can't really build all 4 of these homes on the same part. It's all got to be separated and done correctly in order for the bank or mortgage company to be able to do a construction loan for each of those people individually, okay? And yes, it can be a little tricky with one person has done the loan and in conjunction and timing. Timing is the big piece of this. Is everybody doing this at the same time? More than likely, probably not. So then it usually kind of results into this, where I'd see somebody's got the land loan, the front person, they go ahead and get their house built, and then they're essentially maybe even financing all of those pieces of land together in the same time, but you've already got it surveyed, and then whenever each family member at that point would purchase the land to be able to build their home in the future, then you would do a contract, they would buy it from you, and then you would apply that down on your loan as a principal reduction, essentially, okay? So we can walk you through all of this. Again, this is a high level, I know it's a long video, but high level overview of how a family compound kind of works for each person to get their loan. But that's how you kind of get the land, you survey it, you branch it off, contracts in place, you start building the home, you get your builders, all that involved. So we can guide you through this. If you want to reach out and schedule a call with me, we would love the opportunity to help you. Make sure to follow me for more construction loan family compound tips just like this, or reach out and schedule a call with me today.